ask Lola, what is the secret of what is behind a mother's burden? Can you just share briefly what is behind, what gave you that concept? You know, I remember when we were rubbing minds together and then ideas was flowing. You know, when I read the concept you sent, and I was like, let's do it this way, let's do it this way. Within a jiffy, I sent it to the flyer guy. Within a jiffy, we made some corrections, and boom, we are here tonight. Believe me, we are not here to cajole you. This is a program that cut across all homes and diaspora, not only in diaspora, Africa, Nigeria, Ghana. Don't let me talk. Let's hear from the mouth. Let her blow it out for us. So, Omolola, please, let's hear you.
Thank you so much, Aduni. Before I say anything, I really want to appreciate you because it's like you refuel my fire for this program. A mother's burden is a burden. It's like a burden that I had. You know, living in the U.S. for more than a decade, if I can say so, and having children here in the U.S. and raising children. I come to realize that it is a struggle. It is very, very, very tough. I have to say that. I wouldn't say it's difficult because nothing is difficult, but it is very tough. Maybe I'm comparing my own upbringing, and I'm not trying to bring up my children the way I was brought up, but I'm trying to rub mind with other mothers that are in diaspora, back home in Nigeria, everywhere in the world, in Ghana, in London, in Germany, in Holland, you know, everywhere in the world. Like, how are you guys doing it? How are you coping? How do you respond to your children when you ask them to do something and they tell you they'll do it at their own time? You know, then I started thinking, is this just me? You know, being a working mother, I wake up very early, had to get to work maybe at 7:30 or 8 sometimes, 8:30. I have to drop off the kids at school. I have to pick up the kids. We have activities we have to go to in the evening. I have to make breakfast. I have to pack their lunch. I have to do all of these things. It's like a whole lot of work on its own. So that really made me start wondering, like, how do other parents do it? How can we bring up our children in this culture? You know, knowing that I came into this culture, I am not born in the US. I have to learn their culture. I have to learn their way of speaking, their way of doing things, of responding to things, you know, and compared to the way I was brought up, the way we do things, and the way I want to raise my children, the way I want them to be brought up. But I realized that the difference is so huge. So that was what gave me the idea that, you know what, I want to rub mind with other mothers or other parents, single, married, you know, divorced, widower, to know, how are you guys doing it? How can I do it to be a better mother? How can I do it to leave the best legacy for not just my children, but to everyone that is connected to me? And that was what really backed this idea.
You should know that Nigerians with their network, and that was why I'm trying to use the 2 tablets at the same time. But I noticed that when I log in through the other tablets, it's kind of echoing. So I don't want it to actually affect the other one we are using. But bear with me, that's Nigerian for us. So one of these days we'll step up like you guys are over there. Sorry about that for the network cutting you short. Intermittently it will come like that. But as soon as it comes back, I'll switch over to the next one. So sorry. I actually wanted a bit few of us to be on ground, like Tawo Nolly from Germany, but she's indisposable. I think she's on vacation right now. Okay. And also, I actually wanted to bring Deji Awe, but actually, I guess it's scheduled. You know, while we were talking, it was in the car. I actually wanted to make it fun. I said, I wouldn't mind you being in the car. But it's like, no, the strength, the odor of the bangs, all those stuffs like that. Oh, then, okay. He said he's trying to log in. If Ayela is hearing me, he should let him in. Ayela should let him in. Okay, he's asking for the password. I think I will send the passwords to him.
Okay.
Let me send the passwords to him. Let's go on, Omolola. Let's leave Adeji. Adeji is going to come in. Omolola, you've actually said briefly what inspired you bringing in this mother's burden, parents' burden, which simply says that you were not born abroad, and then you're just aiming to get yourself into the system and then get accustomed into the system. Remember that this program is not only for people at diaspora.
Yes.
It cuts across every home. It cuts across every country.
Yes.
And the way we actually train our kids here is quite different from the way you train your kids here. So can you tell me briefly, how have you been coping?
Well, you see, I have to say that is part of my concern as well, parents' concern. And I'm going to use an example. Like if I tell my child, like, hey, can you please go do the dishes? Everything we have to say the word, please. We always have to say the magic word, please, thank you. You have to respond to them in a certain way. So if I tell my kid now that, oh, can you do the dishes? My daughter will look at me like, mommy, the magic word. So I have to say, please, can you do the dishes? Now, when I was growing up,
we dare not.
I dare not ask my mom, can you say the magic word? Like what? Things like that. If I say, hey, will you put this water bottle back in your lunchbox? My child can tell me like, I heard you, mommy, I'll do it when I'm ready. So it's kind of a struggle for me initially on the onset, because I am like, wait a minute, like, are you telling me you will do it when you're ready? Like, I know what my mom will do. If she asks me to get up, before she finished saying get, I am up. So those are some of the challenges. And I was wondering, is this happening only in my household? Am I not fulfilling my responsibilities and my role as a mother? Is there something I'm not doing right? And talking with a few people,
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I can hear you go.
So talking with a few people, I realized that this is not just me, and part of talking with people, realizing that this is not just me, made me say, you know what? Let me start this program, A Mother's Burden, Raising Multicultural Children.
Exactly.
And I said in the diaspora, it's not only in the diaspora. You guys in Nigeria are in the diaspora to me, because I am not in Nigeria. So you are in the diaspora to me. I am outside the country. You guys are outside my country. So it's like, okay, is it the same everywhere? How can we bring up children? And especially in the US here, there is a thing about being African-American. Being African-American, our children, if we have to enable them to have enough self-confidence to be able to face their peers out there. My children attend, I would say in their school is like 90% Caucasian. And no, I take that back, like 95% Caucasian and maybe 5% other culture. So in this culture, you have to raise your children to be able to express themselves. The way we were raised up, we were raised not to talk back at adults. We were raised not to respond when adults are talking. We were raised to look down when adults or elderly people are talking with you. But in this culture, your children look at you when you're talking with them. That is the way they communicate. Even though there are various cultures and people are now understanding other culture, that it doesn't mean a sign of disrespect. But in this culture, when I'm talking with you, I want you to look me straight in the eyes. And I think that signifies self-confidence in a way. And some people don't understand that in my culture, when an adult is working with you, you don't have to look at the adult. You have to look down. So if in this culture, if you're talking and you're looking down, they think you're lying. So they think you're lying. So you have to face, you have to look at the person directly when you're talking with a person. Now,
okay. That's a very good one. I want to ask you a question before I'm going to share a little joke with you. And the question is, what are the takeaway, for people that are going to sit to watch this program? Because I know it's going to be a very loud program. A lot of people will want to sit, and people aspiring to go out of the country, from Nigeria, go to US, go to UK, they will have learned a little from the program. So I want you to tell me what should be the expectation of people from this program. What should be their expectation? What are going to be their take home, please?
Well, on this program, I am hoping that as parents, as mothers, as fathers, as aunties, as uncles, that we would be able to understand our children. We would be able to go inward ourselves and ask ourselves, what are our values? Because it got to a stage in my child rearing life, which I am still obviously rearing my children, they're still very young. I have to ask myself, what are my values? Because I realize that it is my values and my belief system that I will impact on my children. If I don't have any values, I have nothing to rub off on my children. So it's not only about how do I raise these children, but in the process of raising these children, how am I growing? How am I raising myself? So it is very dear to me, because I look at a lot of children in my community out here, and I wonder, and even in some of the Nigerian community, you hear a lot of them saying, Omo America, Omo America. And I always say, I beg your pardon, America does not give birth to a child. They are our children. We have to raise our children based on our values, based on our belief system. So the takeaway is not just how to raise our children, but we are rubbing minds together and asking ourselves, what are my values? What do I believe in? Because it is my value that I will rub off. Am I a mother that I don't care if my children goes out and don't come back home until midnight? Am I a mother that I don't care if they come home with friends that I don't even know their parents? Am I a mother that I allow them to go on sleepovers without even knowing where they're going or who they're going with? Am I a mother that push my children out to go and do things they're not supposed to do, or things that are not age appropriate? Now, I am a believer. I believe in God, and that's part of my belief system. That's part of my values. Am I instilling those values in my children? How am I instilling it in my children? How am I influencing them?
That's a good one. So basically, people out there that are watching this, firstly, for as many of them that want to leave this present country they are, or wherever they are, to another country, this program could be very beneficial to them. They could learn.
Yes.
Because then also we want to know relationship between the parents and the kids, how emotionally, physically, and then how emotionally they are balanced. And then also the program, as you said, also we want to understand that because you are out of your country does not mean you should not reprimand your kids in exact way they are being reprimanded there. So it's a shout out to everybody out there that this program, A Mother's Burden, Parents' Burden, is for everyone. It's not just for one particular set of people. We have the children especially the teenagers of nowadays are becoming something else. That if you are not firm if you're not godly, if you're not spiritual, if you're not emotionally balanced, you cannot handle them. So this program that is coming live now, airing live now, and then I would say coming soon. Because the last Friday we're coming with some mind-blowing guests, which they're going to make justice on some topic. So watch out for Omolola. She's going to blow your mind. It's not just a mother's body. It's not just I need to care for myself or for my kids, but rather we need to care for every children out there. How I didn't mother this, I didn't batch this, but how can we still put them in the right path? I think Engineer Aware is on ground. I want to call Engineer Aware. If Engineer Aware can hear me, can you unmute your mic? And then in 5 minutes, I need to ask you some questions. I know you've gone out of the country for some times and you have two beautiful handsome kids, which I have been with you for a while. And I know that I was able to see the traces of how the cordial relationship between and your sons was really, really good. Is Ayela there? Can we have Engineer Aware if he's hearing me, please? Engineer Aware, are you there?
Yeah. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes, good evening, good afternoon, anywhere in the world you can hear me. As my sister has said earlier on, that what are the value to our children? That's your value to your children. And I will put it in this way, like it starts from the get-go. Because if you want to get a child's mind, it's from, let me say, from 2 years old when the child started talking or walking, to 13 years old, some 15. That's when you can get the mind. That's when you can impact your value in any way you want to do. I bet you get, if you don't get your mind at that age, there's nothing you can do. For, as I'm going to say, if you want to get a child, it's from when they are still young. In what aspect? Maybe from 2, 3, when they start school, they come back from school. What you teach them at home and what they teach them in school, they will come to you. And like that, is this true? Is this not? Definitely, you know that there's a third party into it, because the way you're teaching them at home is different from the way they're teaching them outside. And I bet you, most of the time, how many hours do you spend with them at home? Mostly they learn from outside more than they learn from inside. So you have to get their mind from that teenage age, at that younger age, at that period where third parties have started being involved. And in what aspect, if I may say, once they start asking questions, that's when you know that, yes, you need to pay more attention to your children. They are curious. There is third party teaching them what is life, basically, because we can't all teach them what is life, basically. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mostly when, I don't know much about, excuse me, I'm in the meeting. Excuse me, I don't know about international schools whereby, they will tell you these seats are for black, these seats are for white.
Sorry about that.
Can you hear me? I don't know much about international school. I've been abroad, but I've never been into the school. But I could figure it out through my little names when they come back from school and they're like, oh, they're being bullied by white, or they can't go to so school because they're black. But let me speak about the one here in Nigeria. When it comes to different parents teaching different kids, and once they come to school, they have, how will I put it? They are vulnerable to different, quiet, please. They are vulnerable to different kind of teaching, whereby some give their children iPhones to play on TikTok, while I restrict my own child. So it's from school they learn all this. And once they come home, listen to them. One, listen to what your children is saying, because they will keep asking you questions. The question is all about, I want to hear which one is true. Is it my daddy or my parent that is saying the truth? Or is it the teacher that is saying the truth? Or is it my friend outside that is saying the truth? Now, as a parent, you know that they are curious. You have to now moderate the word to them. The question, you moderate it to them. It's not that like you tell them, what your friend is telling you is bad or is wrong or is this. You moderate it in a godly way, one, and in a way that you know you can control. Because I won't lie to you, there is a lot going on in school. We're still in primary school. They're still in primary school. When they get to secondary school, there's still a lot. Then definitely when they now get to university, where your eyes can't be over them again. You've lost your child. That's what I mean. When they get to university, you've lost them in a way whereby if you give them
Engineer, you've really, in fact, you shoot up the point. And then you're coming up on the program next week, on the last Friday.
Definitely, Engineer Well will be there next week.
Omolola, am I right? Is
really
right. Giving us.
Yes.
Really giving us. And then
and before you go on, before you go on, Omolola,
thank you.
If I can just say something in Yoruba, because I know that some elderly people are listening to us that may not really understand what we're talking about.
Okay.
If I can just shoot something out in Yoruba, and don't mind my Yoruba, just accept it anyhow.
Everybody.
Okay, no, anyway, so yeah.
And everybody to lost Yoruba. So anyone, I'm happy super glue, touch it.
Okay, so everybody, to wani ile mo Ekale, Ekason, Ekaro, everywhere tí everybody bá wà. Omolola lórúkọ mi, èmi àti Omolola Adunni, àjọ ṣe program yìí, A Mother's Burden, and it is, ẹ̀dùn ọkàn ìyá àbí ẹ̀dùn ọkàn àwọn òbí, you know. So mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo yín pátápátá wherever, anywhere tẹ́ bá wà, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, ẹ̀yin bàbá wa, ẹ̀gbọ́n àbúrò, ojúlùmọ̀, ọ̀rẹ́, alábàárò, everybody, anywhere. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ bá wa darapọ̀, you know, because à ń tọ́jú ọmọ. Wọ́n ní pé ẹnìkan ló máa ń bímọ, but gbogbo ìlú ló máa ń tọ́jú ọmọ, ló máa ń tọ́ ọmọ, you know. So kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn ọmọ òde òní bá ṣe ń ṣe lóde òní, it's like a fẹ́ ṣe bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe, right?
So that tó ṣe jàkórí.
Yeah, so that ní bí àwọn ọmọ tí ní lè mú yangàn, you know. Ní bí àwọn ọmọ tí ní lè àwọn gan ò ní lè dúró pé yes, you know, this is where I come from. This is where my parents migrated from.
And help the society too.
Yes. Then àwọn ọmọ tí Ọlọ́run gan fúnra rẹ̀ máa dùn sí pé yes. You know,
exactly.
People ìlọmọ ìtọwọ́ dẹ̀ tọ́ dáadáa.
You know, but let me just chip in. Honestly, I can't even imagine that you've been there for so many years and then you still speak Yoruba like this.
Oh, yeah.
He's better than you.
That's good.
Definitely. This thing, I can't say it in Yoruba.
Okay, practice. No, seriously, because I'm thinking that, you know, if I'm doing in English, there should also be a Yoruba version.
Yeah,
you know,
you should.
Elderly people should be able to chip in and say, oh, yeah. Then we can compare.
So we should do it like that.
Yes.
That's a wonderful one. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And then, before you're going to talk, I want to say something. You know, I said I'm going to say something like a little joke for all of us to laugh about before you're going to say something. You know, while we were growing up, we were talking about a mother's burden. This was actually something that actually bothered me at a point in time. While we were growing up, Engineer Deji, can bear me witness, is my younger brother, my immediate brother. He works with an oil company, and we came from a disciplined home, a strict home, where the mom and the dad will tell you what it means to know what it means to read their eyeballs when there are visitors. And then I remember those days when we were growing up, if my mom could shine his eyes towards you and then you are still there, hey, it's going to be, by the time the visitor leaves, it's going to be fire. I remember one of us that used to like sometimes play stronghead is Deji. That was why I brought him into the show. It was like I did not see that eye, But when my kids started coming up and then visitors are around, especially my first son, and visitors around, and then running around the visitors and putting mineral or whatever on table, and then it comes in and just say, "Give me, can I take?" And then I will look straight into his eyes and like, "Oh boy, will you live there?" And then the next sentence I will hear from my son is, "Mommy, what is wrong with your eye? Why are you shining your eye?"
Yeah, Omolola, it's the society. Don't get it wrong. That's why I said, see, we only have 5% impact in them. And that impact, that period we have 100% is just from 0 age to 3-4 years when they start school. Get me wrong. It's when a tree, you want a tree to be straight, you support it with a straight stick. Mm-hmm. When you give it a bend stick, it will follow the bend. Mm-hmm. As I'm saying this, that's why Olorun sọ pé, how will I put it in the Bible? Like,
train up a child. Not
train one. That one is part of it.
There's foolishness in the heart of the child.
God is trying to, like, at the age when child has never known the wrong from the right. That's when he's innocent. That's when. Okay, let me give you an example. If I beat a 4-year-old child and a 13-year-old child, a 4-year-old child will still, after 5 minutes, after beating him, 5 minutes, it will still come back to you. But 13-year-old child will not come back to you again.
Exactly.
Well, you see, the thing is, and honestly, that is why I created this forum, right? Now, you see, the thing is, the joke Lola just shared. It's good. Your child will say, "Is something wrong with your eyes?" My children will be like, "Why? Like what? Why are you looking at me?
Why are you looking at me? Yeah.
Why are you looking at me?"
Yeah.
And the thing is, but I have to educate them. And I tell them that.
Exactly.
If I look at you, you should know what my looking means.
It's from child.
Exactly.
But it's from that young age.
And it's not even it's from an unborn child, from when the child is in your tummy.
Yes.
You start talking with the child. And I'm not a child psychologist, but children psychologists have said that, and it's their research to prove it and back it up. When you start talking with a fetus in vitro,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
They recognize your voice. They might not hear, but they recognize.
He recognizes the voice.
Yeah.
And when you start singing, and that's something I noticed with my children.
Yeah.
In vitro, we play music, instruments, and all of that. Both of them like playing instruments. They like the music. They just love music. When we're driving to school, they both have days that they play music. And it's not that it was when we don't play music in my house like that. But because daddy plays the instrument, plays with, when we're driving in the car. And I am always singing. We're always singing a song. Those children like singing. They like playing the instruments. So it is from in vitro, And it's so interesting that children can absorb. Their brain is like a sponge, and that's part of the reason for a mother's body. Like, how do you guys do it out there?
Exactly.
What can we do back here to make it feel better, even though there are two conflicting cultures? The culture here is different from the culture there. Yeah. You said something. I have a 7 and a 12-year-old. If I discipline my 7-year-old, he will still come back to me. My 12-year-old, she may be upset, but she still comes back to me. She still comes back and she hugs me. And that's why I said the cultural differences and how do we balance it? This is the culture they are exposed to. They are not exposed to my culture growing up. They're not exposed to my culture. I remember an incident happened. My mom said I should go and do something. That was way back. I grew up in a military barracks. My parents were disciplinarian as well. And my younger brother is also online. I was walking and taking my time. I did not know when my mom flew behind me, Abaraoloyi, both hands, you know, I had to run like, what did I do? I can't even ask what I did. I had to run because I knew the reason for the Abaraoloyi. You understand? And for those that don't understand what Abara means, that is the way a mother will discipline you with her hands and palm, like hit you hard.
Hit you.
Like, yes, you could almost fall face down, you know. So, you know, but I can't discipline my children like that here. I cannot do that.
Why? Because
yes.
They were arrested.
Yes.
The society.
Yes. So that's the cultural conflict. I am in this diaspora. I am learning the culture. I've been living here for years. I don't even know all of the culture yet, you know, and talk less of a child that I bet here and trying to instill my own culture.
Lola, can I? But Lola, can I say, let me just chip in briefly for that statement you said. I'm used to most some American films, especially bestsellers, and then I see where I couldn't say maybe because they're fictional films anyway. I see where the parents reprimand the kids and then take them back to the main purpose of why they are beaten. You know, I still see. Because I still see, even you living in diaspora or wherever you're living, I still see that there is still way you could reprimand your kids in a godly way, and then they will understand and behave themselves. Because I used to tell my boys, I don't have a girl, I had boys, and I would tell my boys, I said, the scripture says that it is Cain that they use in beating down madness. And then one thing I noticed I used to tell my boys is that when I smack your buttock once, it will reset your brain fast, and you know what you need to do. Because for me, I know we're living in a country where nobody will ask you when you are beating your kids. It's just these days that eyes are brewing now. Why are you beating the kids? But for me, I discipline my kids. I take it to discipline them very well. And then when I call them once, and I call them the second time, I call them the third time, wallahi, the next one that comes in is a smack on the buttock. And then my son will never ask me, he will only tell me, Mommy, calm down. I know why you smacked me, because you've asked me once, twice, try. So I think we should, no matter where we are, no matter the country we are, no matter the law of the country, we should not abuse the law, but we should reprimand our kids in a godly way. I used to tell my kids that the scripture says that blessed is he for that son that obeys the parent or gives honor to the parent, for their days shall live long. So we need to let them be like understanding the word of God, even to the other religion, you know, even to the traditionalists, whichever religion you are practicing, Buddhist or anything. This is not a religion platform. Yeah. It's just a social platform that cut across all facets of life, you know, and at the same time, we would not leave Christ out of it. We will always talk about it when need arises to talk about it. So briefly before you go, I know you need to go pick up my words in school. So I want you to say the final thing. What is your expectation?
Well, my expectation is for every parent hearing me out there or hearing us out there to participate in this, you know, ask questions, send email questions on a talk or with Aduni's page. Send questions on there. A Mother's Body don't have their page yet. I have a YouTube channel. I was recording and uploading it on YouTube, and I had to stop. Life happens. I had to stop for some time, and all thanks to my sake that made me fuel it back on. So I just want to encourage our parents out there to please take part in this. It's going to be interesting. We will be having a lot of guests. Next month, by God's grace, Deji Adenuga. I know a lot of people would remember Deji Adenuga is a veteran actor. He's a veteran actor in Nigeria. Yes.
Story.
Yes, he is in Ireland right now. So Please,
Exactly.
he would come online sometime next month, whether the first Friday or the last session of the month. He definitely will hear. And I just want to know how he has raised children successfully. He's a grandfather, so I want
Wow.
to know how he was able to raise children in Ireland. How did you do it? His daughter will kneel down and greet you. It's a personal preference when it comes to that. I think I'm quite a Libra mother. I don't know how Libra I could be, but I just want all parents to join us. And let's rub minds together. Let's deliberate and let's figure out how to raise this God-given gift, because they are not ours. We're just caregivers. And at the end of our life, we're going to make accounts for them. We'll give accounts for them. How did you raise the child that I give you?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
always say that it's like the story in the Bible that the Lord was going somewhere and he gave his servant some talents. To some he gave 5, to some 1. To me, he gave me 2. How am I investing the talents? How am I using the talents? How am I yielding interest on the talent? So that is my takeaway. That's what I want everybody to take away from my talk today is I have this talent. How am I investing in them? When the Lord of the land comes back, will he say, well done, good and faithful servant? Or will
Exactly.
he rebuke me? Thank you.
Exactly. Okay, before Omolola will leave, finally, I know we have some kind of fanatics that will talk about why do we speak vernacular or speak other language some people don't understand, and also why do we actually talk about religion. Now, like I said, the platform is not really a religious platform. It's just a platform, it's a social platform that come across all facet of life. Like if you look at a talk with Aduni, the main purpose is centered on the youth, and then he cut across the home. He talked about also how can you develop yourself. But now we look at it that with that we need something that we need to touch our children.
That's right.
The last Friday we'll be coming with some things. Get yourself prepared to be part of our program. Mother's burden, parents' burden. I know you're close to your boys, so you share more on what to. You enlighten us more on what to do. I know you've come across all countries, and then you can easily tell us. I wish Taiwan is on ground, and she can easily tell us. But I finally want to say to everybody that tonight is just a beautiful night that we're airing the program for the first time, A Mother's Burden. So I say to everybody, next Upper Friday, I think the last Friday in the month of June, we're coming with another new edition where you hear from different people how they raise their kids, and then they are still relevant, influencing, impacting at the present moment. I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Lola. Thank you to, Jerry was asking if he has permission to record. Please, permission to record, go ahead. Thank you to Engineer Yodeji. Thank you to the host of the program, A Mother's Burden, Omolola. I know you still keep wondering why we're not mentioning her name. She's one of my co-hosts on the Talk with Aduni, but we'll mention her name, her surname, very soon. Engineer Yodeji, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here too. Thank you,
Thank you
Omolola.
for being part of the program. I say thank you to everybody. But before I leave, we have our page.